next level to make you understand, or anyone who is thinking that, okay, no, I need some more lights on what you're saying. So I do not understand. I will go a little further. So the key to become a role model is doing the ordinary things extraordinarily well. For example, it's very difficult, right? So I'll just take an example. It's very difficult. A couple of them might be psychologists here, right? Very few. There are a lot of psychologists, but very few would have taken a good name in their home. I wouldn't say it's going to be a criticism, or it's going to be a beneficial factor of what I'm going to say. But any man who is a psychologist and who is going to counsel another person at your home, your wife would have thought, this guy himself needs a counselor, and he is going to counsel another person. Right? It's very difficult for us to get a good name at home. And most of the places who knows about you would think, this guy, he's going to counsel another person. Right? But we need to find the audience of where am I going to be a role model. At every instances, you'll need to find a forum or the audiences whom you'll need to be engaging themselves, or you'll need to be praising them, or you'll need to be letting them know that you are a role model. You cannot be a role model everywhere. And that's the first step. Right? When you know that this is not my forum, this is not the place that I need to emphasize on things that I need to be a role model, or showcase that I need to be a role model. The first thing that you do is you're not depending on hype. You're giving a space to the next person to be at that particular place. Am I right in saying this? Did you see how I turned to be a place where you can give a chance for another person? Now tell me if I is right or wrong. You would have thought about it, right? So just do an ordinary things extraordinarily well. You want to take this particular, once you drink a glass of water, you wanted to, rather than keeping at your place, you're going to put it in the kitchen, right? You just get up and going and put it in the kitchen. The very act of you holding the glass, going and placing it on the kitchen slab. How are you going to do it? Maybe your mother would have said it, your wife would have said it, your sister or your husband would have said it to you. Once you drink the water, please don't keep the glass in your place. You need to keep it in the kitchen. You're frustrated about it. You're thinking, is that my word? The way that you pick the glass or you hold the glass, go and keep it on the shelf. Duck. A sound. Is that the way that you keep it? You take the glass in your hand, you go and place it as if you've never even entered inside the kitchen. You're just doing an ordinary thing extraordinarily well. Maybe you would have done that, like, frustratingly, you just pick up the glass and you go and throw it in the kitchen. But then once you think about making a change in the way that I go and keep the glass, your wife will be so astonished. Your husband will be so astonished. Your mother and father will be so astonished in the way that it is being changed, right? That is when you think, that is, I think I have to be a role model for my next person. Yeah. So one thing that we will need to keep in mind for today's session is also doing the ordinary things extraordinarily well, right? Many people, a lot of people around the world, I wouldn't say everyone, because I don't include everyone until I know the fact that everyone is, but most of the people are thinking about, what will I get? I do something to you. What will I get? You go to some place, what will I get? You go to the temple, what will I get? Rather, put yourself in the place to think about what can I create? The movement, right? So the first thing that I thought about, that I said you about is philosophy. You ask questions. You don't accept the way that it is. And the second thing is a psychology, a movement, right? From one state of mind to the other state of mind. And that's what you're doing here. You would have thought about what will I get? But the next time you do the same act and you think about what can I create? You go to the temple and you say, Lord, please give me this. Lord, please give me a car. Lord, please give me peace of mind. Lord, please give me this. Please give me that. From that state of mind, when you go and say, thank you very much for whatever you've given me. Thank you very much for everything that you've done in my life. I bet you God himself will think what a change he's brought into his life for a moment. Right? So that is the change that you will need to emphasize on yourself. That is, I have to emphasize on myself. I'm again saying I. Right? And when I say I here, I'm looking at the positive aspect of me saying myself to be an I, and not a very negative aspect, right? So I is very powerful when you use it very positively. So don't be afraid of I. I would say, literally say, don't be afraid of I. Whenever people say, don't think about I. In fact, when you say I, you will need to explain it to them. What did I mean by I? How did I explain it to the person when I meant I? Is something that you need to focus on. Yeah. So let me, tell you, there are a lot of ways that you can become. When you Google into, the aspect of how can I be a role model, what can I do, how can I do, you will do all your searches. I'm just going to give you some 4 triads of being a role model. Right. So the first one is you need to know yourself. The first aspect of you being a role model is only when you know about yourself, you can be a role. When you're a role model, you're marketing yourself. When you market yourself, you should know more than 100% of that particular product, isn't it? And when you say that I'm going to be a role model for another person, you should know who I am. And there are a lot of ways to know who you are, right? I can just give you some examples of knowing how to know yourself. Let me give you an example. It says, what is tsunami? Tsunami is a very destroyable event, right? How does tsunami occurs? When tsunami occurs, the whole coastal region is gone impact, right? And that is evidently seen by everyone. But the mechanism of a human is not the same. You do not destroy yourself. You do not destruct yourself. You do not do any harm to yourself. Instead, the only thing that you'll need to do yourself is to be silent. You be silent. Everything that you'll need is you'll need to be silent. There should not be any distraction. All your sense organs should be shut, which means your eyes have to be shut. Your eyes will be open, but it has to be shut, which means you can go for a long journey by self without going in a group. What do you mean by that? When you walk through the forest, when you go to the Himalayas, or you walk through the forest, you walk through the mountain ranges, and when you do it alone, there is nothing which is going to disturb you. It's only the nature, and the nature is not going to disturb you. Your eyes are open, but there is nothing to disturb you. Your ears are open, but there is nothing that's going to disturb you. That is silence. When you do a meditation, a meditation should not be like, every day I do a meditation. Yes, it makes difference. I'm not saying no, it does not. It does. But increase the frequency or increase the number of days that you meditate. That brings even more, benefits that benefits you to know yourself much more better. Today you do a one day 1 hour of meditation, and tomorrow you do another hour of meditation. In between, there is something or someone who's going to disturb you. You will not know yourself. You go to a place where you're getting distracted. You go to a meditation place itself where you're getting distracted. You're not going to know yourself. Right? You need to pick up a place very, very keenly. You need to pick up a place where you have silence for yourself. That is when you will know about yourself. That's very important. Knowing yourself is very, very important to be a good role model. If I will need to be a good role model, I will need to know myself. So please figure out there are a lot of ways where I can know myself. In a couple of yoga and meditation, they teach you how you come out of yourself and look at yourself. Right? If in a meditation gurus are here, you can explain about it at the end. So you come out of yourself and you look at yourself. Because when you're inside yourself, you say, okay, fine, I'm a very good person. Maybe I just do something which is wrong, but I'm a very good person, because you are being within yourself and trying to say that you are good. But when you come out of yourself and see yourself, that is you being the second person and pointing out another person, is very easy for you. Oh, this person is this way. Very easy to say, right? But when you're within yourself, it's very difficult to say, right? So please know yourself. That's one of the traits to be a good role model. The next thing is, I said, I want to be a role model. When you say, I want to be a role model, second thing that you'll need to keep in your mind is be there for people. When you want to be a role model, you have to be there for people. In what way is I emphasized here? It is for the others, right? It is not for me. It's not my beneficial. I say, I have to be a role model. In what way? Be there for the other people. And that has to be consistent. You cannot just say, today I'm there for you, and tomorrow I'm not there. No, you cannot say that. Right? So, you have a lot of people, who are half-hearted. Right? They're there, but they're not there. There are half-hearted or half-interested parents. Parents are there, but they are literally not there. That's why I said it. They do not need your presence, but they need your presence. They do not need your gifts, but they need your presence. Right? So you have to be there, and that be there should be consistent. Today, if you look at this picture, right? Today they say, rather than being with the human people, the poor sense animals are much better. The dog is much better. I can be with the dog. It's going to be very faithful to me. But when we think, human has to be the person who has to be with the human. Right? So be for the people. Be there for the people. You've got lots of half-hearted lovers. They love each other, but then it's half-hearted. Do you remember the one that I said you? Do the ordinary things extraordinarily well. When you're being there as a parent, be there as a parent. Completely. You're going to give just 1 hour for your kid. Give that 1 hour completely for your kid. Understand your child very well. Think about what is the change that has to be brought within that particular individual or your kid. So be there completely for that particular person is your next trait of I being a good role model. The very next thing is help others discover what they are. It is very easy, or a very general person, a very normal person can give advices and suggestions, right? So the advices and suggestions can be given by any normal person. What is the extra mile that you're going to go? You will need to go an extra mile to get inside and engage another person to discover the purpose of their life. That is more important. You're just not going to give advice. You're doing this way. No, do it that way. That's not the way that you need to do. You will need to sit with him. Ask him, what did you do? Philosophy. Ask him, what did you do? How did you do it? Why did you, in fact, do it? You're in a problem now. Why did you do it? How did you do it? And then you're going to get inside him. You're going to engage him. You're going to be with him and say, fine, let us work together to discover something that you can come out of this particular impending problem. Right? The purpose of his life, fine. You've got a problem within your life partner. Let's get into his life and see what is that we can do to help him. Right? We'll just need to go an extra mile. So you do your ordinary things, but extraordinarily well by giving some time completely for himself or for herself. Right? That's how we become a role model. And this topic is, I want to become a role model. How do I become a role model? And what do you do here? You help other people discover their truth. Right? So do you understand how is I more meaningful? How you make the I being more meaningful rather than just thinking about it on a negative aspect. And the fourth triad, it's the very last triad. So everyone who is looking at you should see you that you've done that. When you do it, they should feel, wow, this guy, he's achieved it, man. He was very slow, but he's achieved it. He succeeded in what he has thought. This person, he was thinking that, he cannot do it, but then he was slow, he achieved it. Be slow, but try to achieve things. Get it done. Try to understand what has to be going into the philosophy and psychological thought. Probing questions, changing the atmosphere as to how you wanted it, and then believing that you can. Theology, right? So when all these aspect comes into the belief of I can do it, how can I do it? Where can I do it? When can I do it? Have I done it? Right? So this is a very important aspect of you achieving. You have to keep on achieving a lot of things. Be slow. When I say be slow, the very act of being slow itself is trying to probe questions. You're not accepting everything that comes into you. You're stopping it there, figuring out what is it, how is it that it can be done, where it can be done. Am I the right person who can do it? And then you move forward in doing it. And then every step that you take has to be very, very keen. You need to be very, very, very cautious in doing it. And then you will need to lead towards the path of success. Yeah. So these are the four triads that I can say. And what is the result of you being a role model? When I say I am the role model, it says that I have lived an intense and an evolved life within myself. I lived for 50 years, I lived for 70 years, I lived for 80 years. In the beginning, the parents were pushing me up to do something. In between, I was pushing myself to earn some money. At the end, if you look at it, what have I lived? How is that I've lived on this earth? There should be meaning in my life. Living an intense and evolved life is something that you will achieve when you think, I should be a role model. And now I think anyone in this particular group should not be and will not be afraid of thinking about I. Everything that starts is whether I will be able to do it. If you're able to do it, why not the other person? right? So you give the first foot in front to say, I will be the person who will be able to do it, provided I look at the audience and the audience is supportive to me. Else, I give another place to another person to be a role model in that particular instance. Yeah. So we come to the end of this particular session. I've been talking so long. Do you people have any questions? Do you have any sharing? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Santosh.
Yeah.
Actually, I liked every was inspirational and motivation, and I learned lot things. The key point which it is related to my life is whatever task you said now, you should do justice. I always follow that in my life. If I cannot do, I'll give it up there only and tell some others. If we take task, we should do 100%. If we are ready to do 100%, then we should take up the task. Otherwise, we should hand over the task to anybody. Everything we should not feel I should do, I should do, I should do. We give chance to other, whichever we are good at, we should do it. That is the very good message you said in the G1, and how we should be a good human being. So much positive, what and all is needed for life. No, that all that principles you have put in the PowerPoint. It's a very different presentation from what I heard elsewhere. So I'm very happy that I brought you to this forum. It's a very different and thought provoking. If they go back to what you have thought, whatever you have said, if they read through it, they will become a better human being. Whether they become psychologist or not, I don't know. But from your presentation, they can become a good human being. That one thing I can assure you.
Thank you very much, man. I would just like to thank you for the opportunity that you provided me.
Yeah, by no, it's like I'm also new to this forum, so I'm also taking first time this task of getting people. I also don't know. I just contacted all my friends. I have one thing. I'm very rich in contacts. I have lot of contacts through that. I bought people. That is. I take your gratitude for thanking me. But what you did work now today, it is whether it's as a psychologist they're taking, but it's very useful for life. What you said.
Thank
If
you
they
very much.
follow this each of the slide, no, any human being can touch.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very
everything we
much.
should not put I did this, I did that. There's so many people who are clever and so many people who have touched the sky. We are still in the middle sailing in the boat, or we are not sailed the boat also. So there's so many people who touch skies also. We are still learning. I think every day I'm learning.
Thank you
Because
very
I
much.
also
Yeah.
I also finished 16 years in the profession, but I also don't know so much things in MSW and so much things every day from each speaker. Every day I'm attending, every day each speaker I get new knowledge. Today I got new knowledge from you also, Santosh.
Thank you very much,
So,
man.
and very I liked all the slides, or the way of you presented. I liked it a lot. I'm very happy that I brought you to the forum. All the
Thank
best for
you.
your life.
Thank you.
All the best for the work you do. God bless you. Take care.
Thank you
Bye.
very much, man. Thank you. Thank you. We had two other people who had raised their hands. You can speak up. I'm not sure if they are being unmuted, but if they are not unmuted, can you please unmute whoever wants to speak?
Participants, if you have any queries, you can unmute yourself, or you can put in a type in chat box, or you can raise your hand. We can unmute yourself, or we can unmute you. Okay. So there are appreciations in the chat box. So very well done, very well presented.
I'm not able to see chat box.
Yeah, like many people do not present this metaphysical, metacognition, what we call this perspectives of physical, metaphysical, metacognitive,
Right.
geophysical or theological. All these are concepts which are abstract concepts. I mean, not everyone, it's not everyone's cup of tea, I would say, because the most of us are, in fact, are not so well into these concepts. So very well presented, and especially nowadays, what is widely seen is, though practically all are eye-oriented. Eye in the sense self-oriented. Many people are very self-centered, and they think of themselves only. They put themselves ahead comparatively when coming to or when looking at others. So it always we keep ourselves ahead or in front when coming to any opportunity or any aspect. But that is very negatively portrayed theoretically, but practically that is what happened. And it is very evidently seen. See, people may talk addressing as we, but often we see that internally it is I. So there is the conflict that always goes. That is mainly due to social conformity. Otherwise, if I say I, then people might think he always emphasizes himself or herself. So he or she gives more importance to himself or herself. This is what a common notion that is
Certainly, yeah.
widely prevailing.
Right.
So in such case, so how do you think we can balance?
Certainly, yeah. That was my point here, sir. So I request everyone on this particular forum, you would have been in a very high position, right? So whenever you hear that, he's mostly talking about I would certainly say, please probe more questions. What do you mean by it? When you say I have done that, what do you mean by it? When did you do it? How did you do it? For whom did you do it? Did you do it for yourself or did you do it for your team? So when you probe more questions, you likely tend to understand what is his thought about saying I. My presentation also today is I have to be a role model. When I say I have to be a role model, I give opportunity to others when I'm not there. And I help others to discover themselves. Right? So we need to probe a lot of questions when they say I. And especially in the multinational organization, the managers who interview the person would say he's more of I oriented than B oriented. No, Santosh, he's not going to be the right fit for the organization. So what do is I need to educate the managers to say, please don't say that he's not a fit, but did you probe him to be understanding why did he meant I? Why did he say that I? In what context did he say that I? Right. So these are the major factors which we will need to focus when we think about anyone and everyone who says about I. And today, in this particular session, everyone will be thinking that I want to become a role model after I have presented making a turn from I to we and to others. Right. But when we are trying to do that, many people would think, okay, he's a self-oriented person. We have to be self-explanatory when we say, I have to be a role model. Well, I have to be a role model in doing what? I have to give chance to the other people. I have to reciprocate the other person's thought. I will need to put myself in the shoes of the other person. I will need to be there for the other person. And if these are my next words of I, certainly I'm in. And I'm in as good books than being an active person. And when someone says I, you will need to probe questions to understand why did he say that I, and what does he mean by I? Because there might be a lot of people who will have this notion in their mind and would say I. Was that fine, sir? I think I've answered your
Very well
question.
explained.
Thank you. Thank you.
Especially you belong to a corporate sector.
Right.
So how do you see? I mean, there might be similar concerns in employees, especially with this competitive world. Everyone is having a rat race with each other, and everyone and with the entire world. Everyone is trying to get themselves ahead, or everyone is trying to become better than others.
Right.
So how do you see this concept in the corporate world?
This is being very negatively interpreted, sir. So wherever I go to work, right? So it starts with recruitment, right? When it goes to the corporate world, it starts with recruitment. We do the recruitment. They say, we give 15 profiles. They reject all the profiles. I will stipulate my lower category, that is anyone who's working with me, for the profiles. I would say them, do not give them more than 5 profiles. When they give you more, when they ask you for more than 5 profiles, you will need to question them, what is the problem? And when they say he's more of I-oriented, he's more of this one, more of that one, why wouldn't he be, a person? Fine, you're here not to pick the person who's suitable for your role. That is also, you're also entitled to improve another person who's coming into that particular role. And when you think about, you need to have the right person in that particular role, that's not going to work. Right? So it is very much challenging for us to say, and we will need to also train the managers, train the trainers, in fact, to think about how they can do it. So it is in every aspect of life, everything that I say to them is, the first thing is philosophy. Do not accept anything as how it comes to you. A good thing comes to you, ask why it's coming to me. But many of us will say, good thing is coming to me. We'll only try to hold it. We'll only try to grab it. And so is the corporate world. They'll only try to expect, right? So as I said it, what am I going to get is everyone's thought, or most of our thought. Everyone is thinking, what am I going to get? What am I going to get? How is, if another corporate person says that I need to hire a person who is suitable for my role, how is the person that I'm going to hire should be? He should be a 90% fit. You will not get that person. You will never get that person. You will have to leverage. And your work is to focus on how you're going to educate him, how you're going to train him, and bring him to that level. That is your success. If I give you the right person and he does all the work, what is your work? Right. So this is the kind of education, these are the kind of questions that we put across to all the managers or the bigger people in that particular role, and say, you will need to have these particular things in mind. So when I train the corporates, when I go and speak to the employees and the individual, I speak in these kind of manners that say, they come with a lot of problems. They come and say, a lot of employees come and say, I will need to end up my relationship. One thing would be like, he's not focusing on his work at all. The managers would say he is not doing his work, but they do not understand what is the reality behind he or she not doing that work. He is gone into a relationship problem. You will need to give some time. You cannot expect a person who's gone into a relationship problem to be working 100% for you. No, you cannot. And you title him that he's not the right person, he's not doing his work, and you'll need to chuck him out. No, that's not the right thing. You will need to understand what happened to you. Did you sit and talk to him? If you have not sat and talked to him, figure out what is the problem and then get back to him. Because I have already spoken to that person. So every individual that goes out of the organization, that comes into the organization, we will need to understand them better. I work with Wipro. It's a very, very big organization. But then we figure out, whom we will need to speak in terms of who was doing better and who's gradually gone down. Who was not doing better, there's no point in me speaking to him at all. But then who was doing much better, who has gone down, we will need to talk to him. Who was doing very worse and who was doing much better now, we will also need to talk to them. We should not ignore them. We should try to understand what is that which is emphasized him, which is empowered him to do better. So we just approach in all of these manners, because there are a lot of companies who do not think about their employees on the whole. They say he's doing good. Why should I go and touch him and he's doing good? You live over the person who's doing good. Figure out the person who's not doing good. My talk to them is, I want to understand what has made this person better for me to go and put him in that same class so that he betters himself. So that's the kind of approach that I take. So a lot of things that goes on with me.
Yeah, well said. These are different perspectives we need to understand.
Yeah, many people would not accept it. Many of them in this particular forum itself would say, no, that is not the way it is. But then, we can have a separate dialogue to make them understand why we put it in this way. It's not right or wrong. I might say, sorry, yeah, I agree to you. At one point of time, when we have a dialogue, I have to agree to him. That's metaphysics, right? I cannot keep asking questions. But there is a point which I need to agree. I will need to agree. That is belief. That is theology. And further that, I should not be having any questions. Once I believe it. I should not be having any questions further than that.
Yeah, very well said. So, when giving or when training, when you are doing this kind of training in corporate world, so what are the challenges you faced and how you could address them?
Most of the challenges that I face is people think that they're much better than what we are, and they do not agree to things. The only reason is because one good example that I can give you is a person who is from the mathematical background. Right? You have to tell him 4 plus 3 is 7. When you put it as 3 plus 4, he will say, no. Put it as 4 plus 3. The person who is from a BA background, a philosophy background, a psychological background, or from the arts background, right, or the commons background, they would think about, okay, that is fine. Everything comes to the same number. Is it 4 plus 3 or 3 plus 4? It's 7. But there are people who think that no, it has to be this way. There was a couple who came to me for the counseling who said, there's a problem with my wife's approach. I said, what is it? Everyone has a problem with the wife. Tell me what is your exact problem. There are a lot of other problems. Tell me exactly what is your problem. I've been telling her so much, Santosh. She gets into the bathroom, and I have been taught by my parents that I have to press the toothpaste from the bottom. She all of a sudden comes and presses right in between and takes off all these things, and she does not even finishes up. There are a lot of paste which is left at the bottom. She throws it. Who is earning? I'm earning. And that is his problem. Can you go and tell a very grown lady to roll it from the bottom? You cannot. And that is the problem that we face with most of the corporate trainings. They think that it has to be this way only. It cannot be the other way around. After everything, there'll be a debate, and then we will be having a separate session. If he is from the corporate world, you will need to let him know, see, this is not the way that you need to approach. This is the way you need to approach. You cannot expect every employee to be the same. You cannot expect every employee to act the way that you want it to be. And if you look at it, in his team, there'll be a lot of attritions. When we get back and look at things, his team will be a lot of attritions, right? So, and then we will need to figure out all of these things, and then we will need to go to the HR again, to his HR, and say, there's something that you need to mold in him. It's just not one day act or one day training that you need to give him. He has to be learned on how he has to manage himself, how he has to mend his way of thinking. He has to think why, what, when, and where. No, he wants only psychology and theology. He does not want philosophy. He does not want to know why is he done that, how is he done that, for what reason has he done that. No, I want it to be done this way, and I believe that you'll be doing it this way. That is all. To those people, we will need to be telling them, no, that is not the way that you do, because that is very difficult. You cannot have every employee thinking about all of these things. We will need to have a separate session for them. And if the HR says, yes, you can have a separate session, yes, we do. It's like a counseling session that we have for themselves separately. And that's just, it'll not just be one or two counseling sessions, it'll be a couple of counseling sessions. And then if they are able to mend themselves, if they're able to mend themselves. If they're not able to mend themselves, it is, we say, it's like a dog state. And they would not suggest that they have to throw him away. You can give him an individual contribution. If it's a bigger organization, we push him into an individual contribution so that there is no problem within the team handling. So an individual contribution is also similar to the hierarchy of what the group handling of management is. That's how we try to handle this.
Thanks for sharing your insights on Britworth.
Thank you very much.
Participants, if you have queries, you can unmute yourself in chat box. No queries, but people are appreciating the presentation.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all the participants who have been there, giving their time to listen to what I would mean to say. It's not that you need to take every word, but at least few words would be changing the perspective of I and we, the difference between I and we. And I is a very simple step of we taking it further to mold ourselves to be giving meaning to our life. Thank you very much for all the participants, and Mr. Ravindra, I would thank you especially for giving this opportunity to share my thoughts with the team.
Thank you, Mr. Santosh. It was a really a different kind of presentation, but it is very much needed. So, can this be presented as a workshop or something like that?
Certainly, sir. Yeah, if you want me to do it, yes, you can.
Yeah, maybe on any working day or any Sunday. Preferably Sunday would be better. On any Sunday or whenever you are feasible, because this looks very apt for as an exercise or as a workshop also.
Certainly, sir.
So whenever you get some time, so you can join us, like we are having daily 6 to 8, and otherwise also on any Sunday you can join, and we can plan it. Maybe now I will take it offline. We will speak.
Sure, certainly.
I think that will create more impact, because now theoretically, we got it. Maybe if we do some exercise on it,
certainly,
that will give us more insights, more retrospection of ourselves, our thoughts.
Certainly,
It was very well presented, and thank you.
Thank you very much
for joining us and accepting our invitation and being part of this wonderful platform.
Thank you for the opportunity.
For all the success.
Thank you.
And we look forward for your sessions as well in future.
Thank you very much. And for all the people who are present here, just one thought. We have started with getting God's blessing to us. So what I would literally plead you or request out of you is, whenever you do any act, especially the people who are in the higher positions, right? I request you to keep your ears in the heart of your God, whoever it is, whoever your God is. Keep your ears on the heart of God. Listen to what the heartbeat of your God says. You need to keep your hands on the pulse rate of the present time. However old you might be, but you need to keep your hands on the pulse rate of the present time, because the present time's generation is very different from the past. They're very, very focused. They're very focused on few very different aspects. We need to keep our hands on the pulse rate of present time, our ears in the heart of our God, whoever the God is, and then we will need to work around, and then everyone will be successful in this. That is my request to every participant. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
So definitely this is a very good thing to be practiced, so that we are aware of ourselves, our thoughts and our physiology. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, participants, you can find the feedback form in the form of polls. Kindly do not close any pop-up window. Mr. Santosh, can you stop sharing so that we can launch the feedback?
Yes, I stopped it.
So we are launching the feedback form that will be in the form of polls. So kindly fill up the feedback form. It is mandatory for receiving the certificate. Be alert. Do not close any pop-up windows that is coming. And do not move away from the Zoom app. It might close the window until you fill up the feedback form. The feedback form is on. Everyone, kindly quickly fill up the feedback form. We, on behalf of Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute and Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing, we thank Santosh ji for joining us and all the participants for joining us and making it a wonderful evening. You can join. You can find the feedback link raised in the form of polls. Kindly fill up the feedback form. And certificates for the presenters, we are issuing it personally through WhatsApp. We will be sending them. And for the participants, we have to visit our international series website. There in the navigation, you will find various links with dates. So you can select the appropriate date on which you have attended. For example, today, 9th May 2022, you will find a link out there. You can click on that, you will find the flyer. And just below the flyer, you will see a certificate link, e-certificate, Google Drive link, where you can download your certificate. And certificates are generally issued within 15 working days. So that is the maximum time. But now from today, it will take some time. So earlier we used to issue even in 1 day, 2 days also. So last webinars are also issued, but from today it will take some time. So after 15 working days, you can check the webinar series website. You can find the certificate and download it. Kindly fill up the feedback form. It is mandatory. before leaving, kindly fill up the feedback form. And after filling up the feedback form, you can leave the platform. You can find all the previous webinars details and also certificate download links, whichever are available, have been issued, are updated on the website. You can find those details, links on respective pages. Daily we are having, so every day we have a page dedicated. So you can visit that page and you can see the flyer and also find the e-certificate download link. If there is no link updated, it means still it is in the process. So you can wait till 15 working days. Even after that, if you are unable to find the link, then you can always get back. Generally, it doesn't happen, but still we are there always. And do share these links and invitations with your friends and join Facebook group and also Telegram channel. That's where you get daily updates and whenever we are issuing certificates. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Santosh, for joining us. As per your convenience, you can stay back or leave.
Thank you very much.
See, as mentioned, it will take 15 working days. So don't keep messaging, asking daily when you will be receiving certificate. So wait for 15 working days and keep checking the website. Whenever certificates are issued, we are updating them on website. So keep checking. Instead of asking us daily, you can keep checking. And we are also issuing periodically whenever we are issuing certificates. Now we are updating once in a while. Every monthly once we are updating for all the participants because some participants may not check and many are not able to, many are not following the instructions carefully. That is the reason, they don't read the flyer carefully. They don't even listen to the instructions. That's why they keep asking again, which has been already mentioned in the. So let's be alert whenever we are attending. We are informing every day. All the links, e-certificate links will be on the website. So wait for 15 working days. Even after that, if you are not receiving your certificate or if you can't find your certificate download link, if you are eligible, eligibility is first you have to register for the webinar, then you have to attend a complete session or all the sessions, whichever is applicable. If it is single session, you have to attend that session. If there are multiple sessions, you need to attend all the sessions. Then you have to fill the feedback form. These three things are mandatory. And you have an option whether you want the certificate or not. So if you want, you can opt for it. If you do not want any certificate also, there is an option to say no. For those who have selected option as no, for them e-certificate is not generated because they do not want it anyway, because there might be some people who are attending only for the knowledge sake and maybe retired or they may not require any, they may not use it anywhere or it may not serve any purpose for them. So for sometimes even in feedback they give, you are giving certificate, but it is no use for us. because of their retirement, and they are I mean in their retirement life. So maybe in some cases, so we got that feedback. So we are have put on an option also.